Shall we begin? Let's begin.
All right, everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of the Frankly Francisco podcast. Today, my guest has gone through a lot in his life. His journey is starting to come full circle. He has so many experiences. He's trying to break into the podcast game as well. So I figured I'd bring him on the show so he can, speak his truth and let everybody know about his journey. I'd like to introduce everybody to Tone, also known as Barber Tone, DJ Tone. He's a man that wears many hats. What's going on, my brother? How you doing?
Yeah. Thank you for allowing me to be on this show today, man. I appreciate that. It's a blessing, to be honest, to be doing something like this. It's something that I've always dreamed about. I had dreams about it when I was in prison, but yeah.
Your journey starts a long time ago, man. So, I mean, as kids, we make, sometimes we make bad decisions and we have to pay for those decisions. And you paid for your decisions that you made early on in life. Tell me about that experience, man. What was it like having to face that and having to do time? And, what kept you going when you were behind that cell, in that 8x10, you couldn't move? Like, what was it like for you? What was the experience?
My first experience being locked up was when I was 13. I was 20 years from today. It was 20 years ago, my first experience. What kept me going during that first experience was not falling behind, not necessarily falling behind, but just being with the same crew, falling in, not being a chump. Making my family proud, standing by who I am, standing by my family name, Sanchez name, that I had the tough guy role. I was always a little guy, but I had to maintain that tough guy role. And it was because I was scared. And that fear of being afraid kept me safe, kept me sane. And not just that, but I also kept it in mind that this too shall pass. I had a good support system when I did when I put myself through the first time. And, I lost my grandfather. That was something that happened to me. He was like a man that helped raise me, helped instill a lot of good things in me. And I lost him during that time. And, I had to stay strong for him. That's something that kept him in my mind, that I had to stay strong for him.
So how did you shift though? Because you did time in juvie. So what preceded that though?
I did juvie time and then I did adult time. When I turned 21, right before I turned 21, a year before that, I was 20 years old. Before I had my daughter, I had got locked up. I was arrested for the most pettiest crime I've ever committed. But see, when I was a juvenile, I committed a crime. I'm able to talk about it now. It was an aggravated burglary. I broke into a kid's house that I had trouble with. I didn't really care too much for. He wasn't, he called me out of my name one time. He called me a spick. And that's a lot of what I grew up dealing with growing up. I was always fighting because I was either getting called a spick. I always had to stand up for myself, and I was always a fighter. So, that happened. He called me a spick. I broke into his house. Next thing you know, I'm going to juvie for 2.5 years. I got out when I was 17 and a half, 20 years old. I get locked up for graffiti. Out of all things, graffiti.
Really?
Yes. See, I've never had good luck. I've never had a good luck when it came to the prison system. I've always watched people slip in and out the cracks, but me, never that. Anytime I get pinched, I really get pinched. Wow. And then when I turned 24, I was 24 and I was on the west side of Cleveland at a gas station. And around that time, I was in the streets, like heavy in the streets. Not heavy, but I was heavy. I was heavy in the streets. I ain't even gonna say. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. I had my hands in every cookie jar I could have it in, and I got pinched, man. And they caught me with a good quantity of marijuana, and they put me on probation. I was locked up, got probation, but I turned 18 months probation into 4 years probation because I didn't want to quit smoking, what I'm doing now. Yeah. But you know what? There's a reason why I do this shit. There's a reason why I stand on it, because I don't feel like marijuana is a problem. It's never been a problem. So it's actually been something that I feel that saved me. And there's a reason why that. I used to take Adderall. My mom had me on pills when I was younger. I stopped taking pills. My mom caught me with 250 pills one day in the back. She said, "What are you doing with this?" And then found a half an ounce of weed. Was like, "What are you doing with this?" I'm like, "Well, this, I'm low-key selling it. And then this, I'm smoking it. Because it does the same thing. I found out it did the same thing for me. You know?"
So I think a lot of people are in the same position you were. A lot of people turn to the marijuana as a coping mechanism, as a relief. I mean, it's legal now. I think you just came up in the wrong time, because now you can smoke it freely in most places. You're not even going to get a ticket for it. You know what I mean? Just, you know.
But that's the thing, though. When I got caught up just a few years ago in 18, I had that 18 months probation turned into 4 years. Boom. After that 4 years, I got caught with a gun, and then boom, with the gun, I had more drug charges after that, because I had drugs and money and guns.
Yeah.
I got pinched. And then after that, they said, "Okay, we're done with you. Sentence 30 months. Boom, sit down." So I sat down for 16 out of those 30. I got my judicial release. I said, "Okay, I got PTSD. I got epilepsy because I used to have seizures as a kid. I was diagnosed." And I said, "Let me go ahead and get my medical marijuana license. It's legit here in Ohio. If a doctor said it's cool, I should be able to get it." So I got it. A couple months down the road, 9 months later, judge was like, "Nah, I can't do that. I'm a drug court judge. Do you understand what that means? I stand on no drugs." So he said, "When was the last time you had a seizure?" I was like, "Sir, does it really matter? I was diagnosed with epilepsy. Last time I had a seizure was when I was 16. Does it really matter, though? It shouldn't matter, because I'm still diagnosed with that. PTSD, I got paperwork, whatever the case may be. I was here, paper. And he didn't care. He wanted to lead. He wanted to show that he wasn't gonna stand on that.
Yeah.
And I understand where he was coming from, but at the end of the day, you lock somebody up that was just smoking weed versus a pedophile that gets locked up and lets go after a year later, and they're back in the same neighborhood having to register, but they're still doing the same thing. They let them people get away with murder, but then drug dealers and people that deal with drugs, they get slapped a hell of time. Or if you're not a drug user, if you're, oh yeah, the system is so crazy. If you're not a drug user, a hardcore drug user, you don't get the help you deserve. Because they said, "We want you to go try out for this program. It's called TASK. We want you to see if you qualify to get help with your problem, addicted to marijuana, dealing with my problems, period, my problems." They said I couldn't qualify because it was just marijuana. It wasn't heroin. It wasn't crack. It wasn't cocaine. It wasn't speed. It wasn't meth. It was nothing hard. Never did nothing hard in my life.
You know? So the system always tries to make things harder on people than it should be. I mean, in your situation, it seems like you just got caught up, in situations that you were just trying to find relief for. And, the justice system, especially in Ohio, man, it's on another level. People don't understand the griminess of Cleveland, Ohio. They don't understand how like people think New York is hood. Cleveland is very hood too. You just have to know where to be and what corners to be in to experience that. I remember when I first moved there in 96, man, it was 16 years old. Cops were walking up and down the block where I lived at with shotgun. You know what I mean? They had the ghetto bird out. They don't do it anymore because they can't afford to have it out, but that bird was out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So people don't understand, like, the Cleveland life ain't no joke. Like, people think it's a joke. They go, "Oh, well, Cleveland, go into Cleveland, start running your mouth, especially on the east side, on Kansas, and see what's gonna happen to you." You know what I mean? People don't, and on the west side too, don't get it twisted. Store, Clark area, like, people don't understand. You understand because you still there, that life. So a lot of people get a misconception about where, what Ohio is and what Cleveland is, and think that there's no gangsters there. There's thugs and gangsters in Cleveland. People need to realize that. And I understand that you had to grow up in that kind of environment. But when you did your bid and you were in there, what were the steps you took to turn yourself around, man? What was the thing that helped you focus while you were behind those bars for that long a time?
This 30 months that I have faced this last time around, it was more so, I was making the transition before that. I was making my transition before I got my 30 months. I was going to go sign up for school. And then when I got to 30 months, they sentenced me. They was like, we're gonna just delete all of this and just sentence you to 30 months. I was like, man. Then I went down and I said, you know what? I'm tired of being in the same position. I'm tired of not having to hustle so hard and having to hustle breaking my neck. I don't break my neck doing this right here. I don't have to break my neck doing this right here, picking up a pair of clippers. I'm doing the same thing as selling a bag of weed. I'm selling you a haircut. And I said to myself in jail, I said, they put me in a barber shop. Because my boy, he gave me a pair of Makinas. He gave me a pair of, they're called Noroko, beard trimmers. Something that you do with beards. It's only 4 settings on it. And I had a comb. And I said, I could do this. My bunkie was like, Lil, line me up. I said, all right, bet. Line you up. Boom, boom, boom. Put them together. With just beard trimmers, he walked out of that bathroom. Everybody was like, man, yo, you did that? Yeah, I did that. Well, I need you to do me next. I got a visit coming up on Sunday. Well, I got you. Lo and behold, I'm sitting there doing 4 or 5 heads in the bathroom. And there's a constant traffic. So the COs are getting mad at me. They're like, what are you doing? Like, are they paying you? I'm like, nah, you can't say that. You can't say, yeah, they're giving me snacks that's trading barter. That's
right,
barter.
yeah.
You can't do that. So no, they're not paying me. Man, get out of it. You're not getting paid for this? I'm like, nah, we about to get you in the barbershop, so you go ahead and get a couple dollars. So, they allow people to go ahead and come with the $3, the occasional $3 in food, commissary. And then I had the opportunity to go cut the CO's hair one time.
Nice.
And that kind of gave me a different perspective, because it's like now I'm dealing on it got professional for me. That's when my first taste of professionalism when it came to barbering came into effect, because I wanted this CO to always remember this cut. I wanted him to remember the experience that he got from an inmate, not somebody in the street, but an inmate, somebody that since you're an inmate, I'm an inmate, you looking at me like, man, you dangerous. You're a criminal. You this, you that. But I'm a criminal that just made you look good. I'm somebody that just made you look good. I made your day. In fact, I made your wife look your way. And they, I'm pretty sure he went home, and then his wife was like, "Oh my God, babe, what's wrong with you? You can't be doing that coming out of prison." Funny. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny.
So that first experience for me, it helped open my eyes. And then I had a friend. He goes by the name of Yankee. Mm-hmm. He's the one that kind of was my mentor in LA. Lemanuel, first name Lemanuel. We called him LA. And both of those dudes, Puerto Ricans. One, he didn't speak a lick of English. Mind you, I grew up in the streets of Cleveland around Black people and Puerto Ricans. Majority of them didn't speak Spanish. The ones that I grew up with, I grew up on the east side of Cleveland. Right there, it tells you right there. I ain't grow up speaking Spanish. So it was, it was hard for me to communicate with LA, but he also helped me with my Spanish. He helped me when it came to cutting hair. Yankee, he helped me when it comes to making guidelines and hairs. I never started that until he did it. The which way to go with my wrists, the motion, I learned in there. That was so like right now I'm in school. I'm not learning in school. All I'm doing is repeat. So I'm getting better. All this is I'm sharpening my skills.
Repetition.
They just gave me the like I'm a blacksmith right now, and they just gave me the whole setup and the whole kit and caboodle. Now I got the whole world to deal with now. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. So essentially you got your apprenticeship while you were in prison, and now you just getting certified by the state, because without it, you know what I'm saying, you can't do what you need to do. But the best part is, though, what you're doing is one of the most honest professions there is barbershop, is being a barber, man. Everybody needs to get their haircut. So what was the regimen for you like every day in and day out? How'd you start your day? Did you start your day out in the morning? You go get breakfast? Did you do your workout and then you go into the barbershop? What was your regimen from the time you got up to the time?
Barbershop? After they put me in the barbershop, I actually was working out every Sunday after that. It was just Sunday, once a week, Sundays. But every day I woke up at 11. I didn't wake up for breakfast. I got up, made myself a cup of coffee. Mind you, I never went to the chow hall. The day that I stepped into my main facility, I said to myself, I don't need to go to that chow hall. I could order my food from a box. I got my Bustelo coffee. I got my sugar that I, paid my dude for to bring me some from the chow hall, brown sugar at that with the coffee. So I'm good. I was taking care of myself. So every day at 11 o'clock, the barbershop, I opened it up. I got up at 9, got my coffee ready, made my little oatmeal, whatever our case may be, open that door up at 11 o'clock, didn't stop until 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock came around, 4:30, count. 5 o'clock, I'm off the rack, whatever the case may be. I'm making calls to my baby mama, or I'm calling my daughter. I'm calling my mother, checking her home, or I got my tablet. Most of the time I was in my music. Most of the time I'm in my tablet. And then even if that, while I'm not in the barbershop, I'm in the barbershop watching my dude cut hair, talking with him. We got the Spanish music playing. We got salsa playing. They knew when we was in there. They knew when a Puerto Rican was in the barbershop because we had the Spanish music. The CO literally had to come to the door. He said, you know what? I ain't even going to tell y'all to turn it down because it's hard to tell a Puerto Rican to turn it down because we don't know how. So he was like, I'm just going to close this door, make sure there's not too much traffic in here, and y'all just have a nice day.
The barbershop is the safest. It's a safe space for men. We go there, we can talk how we want to talk, we can be ourselves without being judged. It's one of the safe. I think a lot of people don't realize that, now people are, because they got all these shows out now where they're doing the stuff from the barbershop, but this stuff been around for ages, man. It's been a beacon for men to go in and just relax and be themselves, talk shit, talk about sports, things of that nature. But for you, when you were locked up, you avoiding the chow hall, was that a way for you to avoid getting yourself into problems?
Nope. It was a way to avoid normalizing that it was okay to eat that bullshit.
Okay, I got you.
I'm so sorry that I had to, say it like that, but it was not okay. That's not okay. They fed us food that was not supposed to be fed to humans. You know what I'm saying? You feeding this horse oats. You giving us apples that they feed cows, they feed horses to. That's the type of product they were giving us. So the low graded food, the chemicals they were giving us, I'm cool. I don't want that. So, and then not just that, I'm not gonna what's that? It's a word that I'm where you get used to being in prison. What's that called?
Institutionalized.
Yeah, see, I'm not that. Never could be. Even when I was young, I've been in and out. Yeah. I should be institutionalized, right? I am in a certain way though, because I came home from prison. I went straight into school. So I went from one institution to the next institution. All I'm used to is a schedule now. That's all I'm used to. I'm used to a scheduled time, but I'm used to still doing what the hell I want to do during that scheduled time. See, that's the thing. When I was in prison, I did what I wanted to do, not what I had to do. The CO said, go clean that up. No, I didn't have to clean that up because I didn't make a mess. I stayed out the way. I stayed out their sight, out of mind. You ain't got to pay no mind. Then I also worked third shift porter. That's a third shift job. I'm up all night. So I'm in one CO's face all night. He's cool. He's letting me kick it, make my food. Then during the day, I'm sleeping. Then I wake up, go to the barbershop. I ain't got to deal with nobody. I made it to the point where I ain't had to deal with nobody. So
a lot of people don't get that lucky though, man. You got lucky in the way things worked out for you for that, because a lot of people they can't go that route. Sometimes, you hear stories, how people are forced to join cliques and behind bars to,
because you know why though? Because they went to a level 2, they went to a level 3. I'm a drug dealer. So the system, I was a drug dealer. So they're gonna take me to a camp because that's what happens. They gonna put me in the camp. They said we're gonna put them in the camp. Plus my age played factor. I just barely made that age bracket where I'm 30 years old. I'm not 29. If I was 29, I'm going to a level 2. Now I'm going to the real jungle, the jungle. Even though I spent some time in some places like that, but I was lucky enough and blessed to get the opportunity to go to a camp. And so I had the opportunity to put my feet up and didn't have to worry about politicking with all the gang members and doing all of that extra shit, I had time to focus on me, time to think about me and what my next move was.
So let me ask you a question. Most people that go behind bars end up finding religion. They find God. Did that happen with you?
I found my higher power, and I'm not gonna sit here and say because I could say God is Allah, Allah is God, Buddha is God, but I did do my shahada. I accepted, the Muslim culture. I accepted the Muslim religion. Why? Because there was something there that I was also looking for, something I needed to learn, a lesson that I needed to learn, something I needed to hear. So I'm multi-religious. I'm gonna say it, I'm multi-religious. I just don't believe in one religion. I believe in all religions because they all revolve around one God. There's an Alpha and there's an Omega. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is to it. There's one God, man. I don't get caught up in all the Allah and Muhammad and Jesus.
Yeah.
I know the story. I do believe in that we were all born Muslims. Because, look at the history book, look at the books, look at the pictures of Mary. She never had her head unveiled. Does that tell you right there? You know what I'm saying? She had her head always covered in a hijab. She just stuff like that make me believe. I only go by sight, not what I'm hearing. Believe half of what you hear and what they say. I forgot how it goes. Believe half of what you hear and half of what you see.
Yeah.
Like that.
So nobody's perfect, man. So I mean, if you believe, what you believe in it, and it gives you faith, and you have faith. Faith is what people need, man. Faith helps everybody get by, in tough times and when things are not going well.
But see, the thing is, faith is being this. Faith is all about this, knowing that tomorrow's a better day. Tomorrow will be a better day because guess what? Once I close my eyes and wake up, it's all brand new. I could start over. I got ways to do things different than what I did tomorrow. As long as you keep that in your mind, as long as you keep tomorrow's to be a better day, you'll be all right.
So let's forward 30 months, transition, getting ready to come out. What were the steps for you? What did you have to do? What was the transition like stepping out behind that cage back into the real world?
I had to do 6 months in a halfway house. And that was the biggest. It was a hard transition for me going from prison to a halfway house. Because I wasn't able to eat like I was used to eating. I fed myself in there. We didn't have the luxury at the halfway house like I did in prison, that I could go to the microwave, and next to the microwave there's 190-degree water that I could just drop into my soup and I could instantly make my soup. Or we got the industrial microwave inside the prison where we could cook our meals in. Mm-hmm. At the halfway house we had a regular home microwave that's just basic home, just cheap microwave. So really we're burning food, we're eating canned food that you can't bring no groceries in there for nobody. You can't order food. You can't order food every day if you wanted to. You're forced to eat Airmark food, and Airmark food is terrible. Terrible. Airmark is capitalizing on all prisons right now. Are they? Yes, they're monopolizing on all the prison foods. If it ain't a private prison, Airmark's in there. Airmark is in there.
So did you have a regimen in the halfway house as well? Was there a schedule that you had to keep?
In the first week, I had to do a couple classes, but I knew before I got to the halfway house, I needed a job. So I said to my pops, he's a window contractor. I said, well, we need to work something out because I ain't about to be stuck in there. And I ain't about to be stuck working at these places, at these factories, doing steel, working these steel plate. No, we're not doing that. I'm used to putting in windows. So my dad was like, you know what? I'm gonna do you a favor. We're gonna get you out here. I'm gonna get you working. We're gonna get your stimulus checks. We're gonna put the stimulus checks on the books as you're paying yourself. So from now on, every time you come out, you're paying yourself. Your money is gonna be circulating. So I kept my money in circulation. $1,000 kept me good for 6 months.
Nice.
For 4 months. You know what I'm saying? I kept that money. Every time I paid myself, I'm getting that money right back and I'm putting it right back in there. So then I got the motion of coming in and out of there. So I was finessing too. I was finessing, you know, coming in and out, bringing my clippers in and out of there, cutting hair. I was in there all night to 3 o'clock in the morning cutting hair every time I came back from anywhere I had to go. If I'm coming from home, I had to go back to the halfway house. I come right into the door. I got 6 people waiting for me just for haircuts.
Now there was no time frame like in when you're locked up, you know, you lights out at a certain time. So there was nothing like that at the halfway house then.
Nope. You're up 4 to 5 to 6 o'clock in the morning. You got your TV. You can't have a phone in there, unfortunately. But I mean, I was luckily to you know, wiggle and know some people that know someone that's on the second floor that so happened to help me out. You know, shout out to him.
But listen, I'm glad you're at that point now where you feel comfortable enough to talk about this stuff, man. Because even, you know, some people who have PTSD, they can't talk about this stuff, man. Your mind is open and free. You're able to speak freely about this stuff, which I think it's a story, man, that has to be told. And people have to hear these experiences, man. People want to hear this stuff, man. They want to know what that life is like. So when you finally got out 6 months into the halfway house, were you already enrolled in barber college?
As soon as I got to the halfway house, I said, I need to get to barber school now. They said, well, you can't do that until you get these classes, these classes, these classes. I said, all right. I made sure I did that in the first 3 days. First 3 days, I was out the door. By the 4th day, I said, okay, signed up to school. School came by. They said, okay, we're going to give you a month to, you know, they gave me that month. I got in, I did my orientation for school. And I messed up. My first week of school. I had to miss 9 days of school.
Wow.
First 9 days of school. Why? Because I was trying to, I caught myself going backwards and I was hustling. I went back to the mode of where I was before I got into the mindset of this is what it is, this haircut, this is enough. Instead, I wanted to go for more. So, you know, I had the opportunity to get what I wanted to get in there as far as some good green. And that's all I ever messed with, you know?
Yeah.
And I got pinched. They caught me coming in with a North Face book bag full of cigarettes, Black and Milds, and oh man,
that's tough, man.
It was an ugly situation, but I was lucky that it wasn't enough for them to sit here and say, "Well, we're gonna send you back to the prison." Plus, it was such a short time. I had 7 days in the building, 7 days left at that time. They're like, "Man, we ain't even good. We're gonna hold you in the building for this next 7 days. You missed your first 7 days of school. You can make it up, whatever. Don't worry about it." That was their mentality. We're just gonna hurry up and get you the hell out of here.
But you got a second chance, though. Like, did that point, did it click? Like, I can't mess up anymore, man. I'm giving something away that I've been fortunate enough to get.
It didn't click. It slapped me.
It slapped you.
Slapped me. I thought this being locked up during COVID, it did not change out of me. I got no more change in my pockets. I am changeless. If a homeless man asked me for a quarter, listen, bro, I left it back in prison because they knocked nickels out of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with all of that, and then when I got hit with that 7 days, I had to stop going to school for 7 days. I was like so excited, and then all of a sudden, boom! Hold on, slow your rope, pimping. You thought you was slick. That was God. That was my higher power, Allah, telling me, "Yo, what you doing? I'm providing you with enough right now. What is you doing?" I was making enough in there. I was making more than enough in the halfway house, and I didn't need to do any of that bullshit. I just wanted to do it to keep my thing going for myself. You know, it's just, you know, you got to have it. You got to keep up with it. And smoking marijuana is my habit. That's my habit. You know.
So what was it like first time in barber school? What was the experience? Because you were already cutting hair behind bars. You was already doing that. You was already taught. You was an apprentice while you was there. Mm-hmm. But what's the difference though? Because there's a big difference between what were you doing in prison and you at the barber college, because it's a whole different thing. It's like you have to learn essentially medical stuff too, because the hair, everybody doesn't have the same type of hair. Everybody doesn't have the same type of structure on their skull.
Yep. That's what I basically came into contact with. I had to learn about shears. I wasn't proficient with the shears. I never even used shears. I never used detachable blades. And those are the Osters 76s. And those come right up off the clippers. And then you could make it the guard either 1, 2, 3.5, whatever case may be. I learned how to cut with those. I learned how to cut with thinning shears and regular shears. I never knew how to do that. So just me, that's what I went to school for. I went to school to learn that and the medical side of it, because I know the motion of cutting with the guards. I'm not a guardsman no more. I'm not a guardsman. I'm a swordsman. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I like that. I like that saying.
Because you got those guys that are basement barbers. I'm in my basement. I'm a barber in my basement. Yes, but I use my shears. You got people that don't know how to use shears. You got people just cutting hair and giving people hot tapers and just leaving all this bulk up there. Yeah.
But I listen, you should be proud of yourself, man, because you are on a path where you are going to accomplish the things that you've been working towards, man. You've gone through a lot, man. Your experiences are crazy, man. Just for as young as you are, because you are still young, the experiences you've gone through, it's made you better, though. I believe it's made you better, and it's gotten you to a place now where I think you seem like you're more at peace with your life. You're still gonna struggle. I'm 42 and I still struggle, man. We're all gonna struggle, but it seems like you're in a better place than when you were, all that time ago, man. You're not as angry anymore. You used to be really angry, man. And it's not. I don't see it. I just see you as more just you let stuff roll off your shoulders now, man.
I do, because as I got. Another thing that helped me get to prison is that I don't give a fuck mode. Excuse me when I say that, but it is the I don't give a fuck mode. You have to have that, because if you don't have that, you're going to care about everything that happens around you. You're going to get aggravated at everything that goes around you. You got to have that. It is what it is. In life, when somebody gets to that point of what it is, that person has mastered their own person, who they are. They have mastered the creation. They mastered the art of keeping calm and keeping themselves together, even though in their mind they're going crazy. They're like, oh my God, what in the hell is they doing? But at the end of the day, it's like, oh well, fuck it.
What do you have lined up for yourself, man? You graduate in July, so you're gonna officially get your barber's license and then get state certified. What do you have lined up? Are you gonna get a chair with somebody? Are you gonna do your own thing? You're gonna have your own shop? How are you gonna work that?
I've talked to a few people about their shops. I've talked to Dre at A's of Fades. I've talked to Tim at I Fix Ugly. I've talked to my boy Vance at Authentic Cuts. I'm dibbling and dabbling right now. I'm going to a formal dinner on March 20th, held at the Mallorcas, and it's gonna be for barber shops owners only. And I got formally invited to this. Nice. And I'm not even a barbershop owner. I'm not even graduated from barber school yet. This is just an event that I'm gonna go to because I see it as more of an opportunity to find somebody out there. Right now, I'm in college right now. I'm shooting hoops. I'm in the NAACP right now, and they looking at me. They looking at the stats. They looking at me. They like, okay, you looking good right now. I'm about to be an open agent coming July. So whoever wants me, they could get me. They just got to come with a good deal.
Well, if you're getting invited to dinners like that, that means people are already thinking highly of your work. You don't get invited to things like that, especially if you're not an owner, if they don't think highly of what you're doing. So networking is the key for everything, man. Networking is the key for everything. Now, remember, man, once you get your chair and you get your business up and running, you got to start that LLC, man. You have to start that business account.
I think that's going to start before that. I think that this next check I get from school, I'm dropping the LLCs and I'm about to do my t-shirt. Then that's when I could push my product. Then that's when I could push this. I could actually push it. And where you say, hey, I want to buy this. And here you go. This is yours. You bought it. I got more product for you. And I got a business that I could go ahead and claim on and et cetera. You know what I'm saying? Build on that. But I do have people like my brother behind me trying to help me.
Well, you have a lot of people that don't know when you're a barber, you're an independent contractor. A lot of people don't realize that. I think you work for a barbershop, unless it's a corporate barbershop like Supercuts, where you get hourly rate. 9 out of 10 times you're going to be an independent contractor, and barbers, a lot of barbers need to realize they need to start an LLC, man. You have to. It's going to be the best way to protect your assets that you're making. I talk like this with you because I've known you for such a long time, man. And, you know, I'm in business banking. So I want to make sure that you have everything you need and you're ready, because I see the future for you and it's bright. I see you moving up and doing things, eventually owning your own spot, man. I think that's the end game for a lot of barbershop owners. They want to own their own spot. They want to be a brand, and you want to build that brand. And I see you moving towards that.
It's not just a brand for me. I want my daughter to have something. I want my daughter to have something. I want her generation to have something, because I want my barbershop to be a pillar, something where these kids could come to and I could provide for them. There's kids in the streets that say 14 years old, coming into a barbershop saying, hey, I want to learn how to cut hair. Okay, now I could turn into Mr. Miyagi and I say, wax on these floors, and then we could get to learning, you know, and start teaching people. And
yeah, step by step, man. It's step by step. Things take baby steps sometimes, man. It does. It takes baby steps, and it can get frustrating, man. My biggest
inspiration to become a barber, and not just that, it was because being a barber goes deep as a Puerto Rican. Why I say that? Because a nationalist, and I can't remember his name right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. His barbershop was very, very, very famous in Puerto Rico. It's called Salon Boricua. This man had a 4 to 6 hour standoff with the National Guard and Army. He was a nationalist that fought for the freedom of Puerto Rico when the U.S. was, you know, undergoing Puerto Rico, when they were taking over Puerto Rico from Spain. And his barbershop was a pillar. Everybody went there for everything. Everybody went there for groceries. I'm talking about everything. This was like the bodega of the neighborhood. So that's why I did it, because I want my shop to be that bodega of the neighborhood. Yeah. I want everybody to come there. I want it to be where, I remember when I went to my first time going to a barbershop in New York, it was the most litest thing ever. I was like 7 years old going into this barbershop, and in New York, everything was bigger. You know, I was little, you know, and I'm still little, but I was 7 years old. So I was even littler, you know. Everything seemed so big and so bright. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with barbering then. That's when I fell in love with it. I remember that. New York made me fall in love with barbering.
So it's been in your blood for a while, man. You already got the experience. It just needed time to manifest this stuff and come out. You had to go through the trials and tribulations that you've gone through in order to get you where you are now, which I think, you know, everybody has their own journey they have to go through, and you went through yours, and you're still going through yours. You're not done yet. Your chapters are not done. You're still writing your book, man.
I said, wow, you just blew my mind that you just said that, because you know what? From the age of 1 to 10, that's your first chapter. 10 to 20, that's your second. 20 to 30, that's your third, right? I'm on my 4th chapter right now. Yeah. And this chapter, I'm going to the middle. I'm 33. I'm on my way to the middle of the chapter right now. And man, I tell you what, this chapter is good, man. I love it.
Hey, I gotta say something, man. I'm kind of jealous of your beard, man. I'm 42, man. I can't grow a full beard, man. I can't. Like, it'll all come in here, it'll come out down here, but it'll come in patches here, man. It just won't come out.
There's a secret.
What's that?
My secret is called Express.
Express?
It's Express. It's like Beijing, but it's not Beijing. It's a temporary dye. And all I do is highlight I just highlight my lineup. That's all I'm doing. I'm highlighting my lineup, making it look more full.
Yeah. I can't even do that.
Of course, all this is real. You know, all this.
I can't even do that, man. Like it literally just comes in patches right here. It won't even come in. I can't even grow a full beard, man. So like, I just got to give you props on that, man, because I can't even get it there, man. Can't even get it there. But listen, man, what plans to let everybody know where they can find you, man? What are your socials?
I have my IG is Juan23 the barber, JUAN 2. You gotta spell it out. 2 TWO 3. You know, the barber. Facebook, you can find me under Juan DJ Tone Sanchez. I got a TikTok as well. I'm kind of booming right now on the TikTok side. It's also Juan23 the barber on TikTok. So you could spell it out, Juan, and then put 2-3. It's a little different, you know. My friend actually gave me that at school. One of the only Puerto Ricans at the time that went to school with me, he gave me that name. He was like, man, it's 123 the Barber, man.
What other projects you have in the works besides the Barber? You are planning on launching your own podcast, correct?
Podcast, I definitely plan on that. I'm in the works right now. I'm going to see my boy about a studio. He's got all the whole works, the whole get up. He just wants to fill the place in. He wants to put able bodies in there. I'm trying to bridge the gap between the West Side and East Side barbers, and that's another thing. I'm working on a product, a T-shirt that has to do with that.
Nice.
You know, bridging the gaps between the South Side and the West Side and the North Side and the East Side. You know, I'm gonna bridge that gap.
Yeah, people don't understand. People understand what the racial tensions were in Cleveland between Puerto Ricans, blacks, Arabics. Like people don't realize how bad it was. They don't understand the beef, you know, the beefs that went on between those races. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's for us being Hispanic. Look, this is why I feel proud, man, because we're behind the eight ball already. You know what I'm saying? Being Puerto Rican in this country, we're not, like I said, we're not dark enough to be, you know, running with the black crowd, and we're not light enough to be running with the white crowd. We're stuck in the middle. So we have to create something of our own. And I think our culture has done a good job of doing that. But when you see our people uplifting themselves from nothing, from getting ourselves up from what people think we couldn't be, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's us writing our own future. It's us creating something that they said we couldn't have. And I think if we all stay on that path, man, I think we'll be successful moving forward.
For sure. That's definitely, if you just got to stay on course, man. It's one foot in front of the other. I just told a kid that today at the juvenile center when I went and here you go, Mom. When I went to the juvenile center today, I went and cut some heads up at the juvenile center. And these kids were in there 15 years. One kid was in there, he's facing 15. The other one was facing 5. And I'm like, listen, man, you have to get out of this. Stop trying to follow your friends and fit in, and just put one foot in front of the other, because you can do this. You can do it, because I did it. I was just 20 years today, 20 years ago, I was in juvenile in prison. And it's blowing my mind that I was just in there today, but on the opposite side. Yeah, oh man, it was just a mind-blowing situation being back in the juvie center 20 years later, being on the opposite side of that. I flipped the roles. I was just, my brother was the one, my oldest brother, God bless him, he had passed away back this last October from COVID.
Sorry to hear that, man.
And thank you. And he came to see me. He went there. He was real big in the church. He came there to see me and to talk to me when I was in juvie to try to change my thinking. And I felt like him today, talking to those kids. And I met one Hispanic kid in there. One Hispanic kid throughout the whole day. And when he saw me, he was Hispanic, because he looked more trigueñito than anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, what? He's like, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm like, fool? He's like, yeah. Todo. He's like, sí, seguro, man. Todo, man. I'm like, then we bless you. Then we says, hey, then he started speaking Spanish. I'm like, oh man, all right, he blew my mind. And so I'm like, man, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? That's when I got serious. I don't know what in me, because the kids that were sitting in my chair, they were telling me, you know, about themselves. It didn't even, you know, it was affecting me. It hit me. It was like, okay, damn, man, why y'all doing this here? So, but then when he told me he was Puerto Rican, it hurt me.
Yeah, because you saw you at that age.
Yes.
You saw you.
Yes. It hurt me. It really almost brought tears to my eyes, man. Because I was like, man, what? You 17? He's like, yeah, I'm 17. Yo tengo un hija. Got one kid. I'm like, you got a kid? You're 17 with a kid? And you're in here? How long? He's like, I'm still going in and out of court. He's like, but I'm keeping my head up. Better do that. But just know this can be over. It'll be over when you want it to be over. When you want this to be over, you want this all this nightmare to end. once you choose a different path, I'm telling you, it'll be fruitful, man. It'll give you a lot of produce, man. You'll get a lot of fruit. Believe me when I say this. I was just here 20 years ago. He's like, what? 20 years ago? Yeah, not here, but at the original juvenile center. Well, I'm sorry, the jungle. That was
St. Clair, right over there on St. Clair.
Yes. And there's still COs in there that I see today. They see me. They was like, what the hell? I'm like, still working here? Oh my God. They're like, yeah, 20 years later. How are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing wonderful.
So do you plan on mentoring more? You plan on volunteering more to do that stuff to help the kids to, you know, let them know that you've been there, done that, that you can overcome?
Yes. I was not even supposed to go. I'm gonna let you know that too, because I've been having trouble in school, car situation, and I had to take some time off of school, so my attendance kind of went down. And when your attendance goes down past a certain percentage, you cannot, participate in events like that. And today, out of all days, I just go in and Mr. Waverly, shout out to Mr. Waverly. You know, he's the owner of Urban Cuts. He's one of my instructors in school, and very, very, very intelligent man, and he's a good guy, man. He's with his no words, he helps change you. With no words, he helps change you with just his actions, who he is, his presence. He helps you. And so he gave me the opportunity. He came to me today. He said, yesterday, he said, I want you to go to the juvenile center. He's like, I'm gonna talk to them and I'm gonna get you in there. He said, but you have to take a state board practical. And that was a state, you got to do all the shaving and all of that. They do practice tests every day. And he's like, you do this for me, I get you to go there. I can't give you service hours today, but you're going to get them tomorrow. I said, all right, bet, run it. Let's do it. And I loved it. I was nervous. I was nervous of what the flashbacks was going to be, how I was going to feel, what emotions I was going to feel going back into a place like that. Of cages behind the doors. They had to lock, I had to turn around and the door locked behind me. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, hold up. Hey, I'm not locked up no more. You don't have to lock the door. But then I realized I'm here for something else. And then when Mr. Waverly walked around, he said, hey, I don't want you just to be cutting hair. Talk to these kids. It doesn't matter how you cut their hair. I don't care if you mess these kids up. Do a good job, talk to them, plant the seed, let that grow. And bruh, it felt so good. I can't wait to go to school tomorrow, man. To really give this man a handshake and tell him thank you, because he actually gave me what I needed. That was what I needed.
So what we're going to do is we're going to keep up with you in a couple of months, man. I want to see your progress. We're going to get you back on. Hopefully your podcast is up and running. Yes. And we can chat again, man, and get this thing going, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. I'm glad you were able to open up and let the audience know about your trials and tribulations that you went through and the way you overcame them. Continued, man, success. Wishing you all the success in the world. Hoping that things continue to go in your favor. And we just, you just keep working on you. I think that's the best thing possible. So I appreciate you coming on the show, my brother. You're welcome back on the show anytime. Take it easy, folks. We'll talk to you next time.
Take it easy.